Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you are with us. Rick, of course, is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has over 20 years experience in the financial industry. And Rick and the team at Safeguard are here to help you figure out where you are on your road to retirement. Can I retire? Do I have enough? Are we going to be okay? Will my loved ones be okay if something happens to me? All those questions, concerns that you have going into retirement because it's on your shoulders. This is an opportunity really to have kind of like that chief financial officer that all those big companies have. You could have your own chief financial officer and the team at Safeguard helping you make decisions for you and your retirement. 800-700-1980 is the number if you have questions. I think we've got enough. I hope we've got enough. I wonder if we can retire. Call Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. There's no cost for this. It's totally complimentary. I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this to at least get some clarity into your retirement picture. I think that's a great thing, but it's 15 minutes of your time just to have a conversation. 800-700-1980. Now, here's a big deal that's coming up on Tuesday. Rick and the team at Safeguard are going to have a webinar. And you can, if you would like to attend this webinar, I'm going to ask Rick about it, but I'm going to first give you how to sign up for it. And then when he's done, I will then tell you again how to sign up for it. But if you would like to be able to view the webinar, it is on Tuesday, which is coming up, January 28th. It will be at noon. Text the word webinar to 951-667-4969. That's 951-667-4969. Just text the word webinar and you'll be able to see it this Tuesday at noon. So, Rick, the webinar topic is, and who's going to be on?
Well, we're going to have an FBI analysis, not an FBI analysis. What's the term I'm looking for here, Mark? FBI
Expert.
Analyst. Analyst. Thank you for that. Come on Tuesday. That's the 28th. And he's going to be talking about identity theft. He's going to be talking about all the latest scams that are going on out there, data breaches, and all kinds of topics to just kind of inform our clients on steps and procedures they can take in order to at least better protect themselves and also be made aware of all the latest scams as well. So that way they can just be more aware to protect themselves from getting defrauded, out of their money or, other areas. So, and there's even new blackmailing strategies that these scammers are using. So it's an hour-long webinar, and anybody can sign up for it. We're more than happy to have them sign up for it, so they can text that number that you just gave out.
And there's no cost. No cost to sign up for.
There's no cost, nothing at all. There's no cost, no obligation at all. It's just a service. These are types of things that we do for our own clients on a regular basis. But what we're doing is we're just opening it up to non-clients as well, because we just think it's such an important topic that everybody should be aware of. You can text that number, or if you want, you can just call us directly and you'll talk to the team and they can send you the link to your email directly. So definitely save the date. If you have time, it'll be Tuesday the 28th at 12 p.m. And they can call us directly to 800-700-1980. And when they talk to the team here, they can send the link to your email so you can get a hold of that.
And then make sure that the email is legitimate and it's not a scam.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, This is Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at noon, the 28th. Text the word webinar to 951-667-4969. That's 951-667-4969. Team will send you the link. And as Rick said, maybe easier just to remember 800-700-1980. Just call the office and say, hey, I'd love to be able to watch that webinar on Tuesday at noon. I think that would be really neat for me to learn more about scams because they're certainly more prevalent than ever before, Rick. And you think about it, you've been in the business since 1995. I'm 65, and it seems like once I hit 50, and maybe it's not necessarily that I hit the age of 50, it's the time, the year, right? 1995, I don't think there were scams like this at all. But you go probably to 2010, 2015, scams have gotten bigger, bolder, crazier than ever before in today's world. I don't think you dealt with this with your clients in 1995, did you?
Yeah, no, not to this level. And it's interesting because, there were scams going on, back then. However, as technology keeps advancing, to kind of improve our lives and make things easier for us, that technology is also advancing for the criminals as well. And anytime something new comes about, it just seems like these criminals can piggyback on it and capitalize it as well. So it's important to be aware of what you're vulnerable to, and mitigate risk as much as possible. At least make yourself a harder target for somebody to penetrate. And that's what this show's about. That's exactly what the FBI gentleman will be talking about on that webinar. And Carolyn, our marketing director, she spent like almost a year trying to hunt this guy down. It was at least 6 months trying to get somebody from the FBI to come in and do a special webinar just for our clients. So if you got the opportunity, I really would suggest doing it, because it was not easy for us to get this guy to come on.
Again, this is this Tuesday at noon. The webinar, text webinar 951-667-4969, or just call the office number at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, 800-700-1980. You think of the scams, and certainly because of now email and phones, it's all mobile now. It's not what it used to be when you had where you pulled the phone off had a long cord so you could sit down in the living room and talk on the phone. It's not that kind of phone anymore. We just carry it around in our pocket or purse or what have you. But those kind of scams, and when you're a company like yours, Rick, at Safeguard, you've got a lot of things you do have to safeguard. I mean, you've got your business, your clients' information and all of that. I would think this is something that you guys probably spend a lot of time on, making sure that nobody can hack you guys.
Yes. Matter of fact, there's special programs that we have, security programs that we have on our systems that are constantly running on our systems in order to protect ourselves from data breaches and things of that nature. And then, of course, not only do we have the technology to help us protect from that, but what we also do is every quarter we get these. It's a course that we take every quarter that updates us on the latest scams and all the latest things that we need to be aware of in order to protect clients and protect ourselves and protect the company. And it's an actual course that we have to take with all the latest information. Then we take a little test afterwards. And it's something that we have to complete every quarter. And then we also have backup procedures to make sure clients are protected. So like a quick example would be where we'll do things manually. A client may email us saying, hey, I need you to send me 10 grand. I need to fix the roof on the house. Well, we just don't take email instructions. We will actually call the client and make sure we're getting a verbal directly from the client before we do those types of things. So there's a lot of checks and balances to mitigate bad things from happening.
Yeah. I told you today before we started that I had a thing from Netflix saying your credit card is getting ready to expire in 15 days. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Wonder why. And it put my last four numbers of the card on the email or the text or whatever it was I got. I think it was an email from Netflix, and it all looked right. So you look to see, where's the return? Can I just go there and return, the email back to them? Can I do that? Is it right? And it said everything looked correct on there. But I was still going, I'm not 100% buying this, because I looked at my card and I'm like, well, it doesn't expire until 2026. So what are they talking about? Well, what happened is, I'm sure it was the first card that I had from this company, and I never update it when I got a new one. So, because I called Dish, I didn't respond to that email. I actually called Dish, and I'm like, oh, that's the same guy that I always hear on all the recordings that I get. And so I did. I updated the credit card because I felt 100% sure that I was doing what I needed to do. But those kind of things can be really tricky because they are getting so sophisticated. I mean, it's just amazing, I think, how good these criminals are. And you're like, if you would spend that much time with a real job, you could make a lot of money. You don't need to be a criminal. So I am voting for the death sentence to scammers of elderly. How about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. You got a second vote here. And the other thing too, coincidentally, I was actually doing that course today that I was telling you about. Now they're talking about deep fakes. And I was like, deep fake, what is that? And of course, with AI, artificial intelligence, they're showing how now they can actually call you up on the phone and duplicate, let's say your son's voice, your daughter's voice, your husband's voice on the phone, and you're literally talking to your loved one or family or friend, and you're thinking it's them. Or they can actually do a Zoom meeting with you where you're seeing them on Zoom and you think you're talking to a coworker, and it's really an AI figure. And when they were showing us this, the gentleman that was explaining the deep fakes scams on how they do it, he was there talking, and then all of a sudden he walks into the screen and says, this picture is really me, this one is not. And you're like, oh my God, it's gotten so good. So the point that they were trying to make is that, it's hard to, because it's so good now, it's hard to identify what's fake and what's real. So if you get a call or if you get a Zoom meeting, and whether it's a working colleague or family member, and all of a sudden it's urgent, and they're like, oh my God, I'm in jail. You need to wire money to this particular address. Or, you know what, there's this emergency. And let's say it's your manager on a Zoom meeting saying, hey, you immediately have to wire funds to this particular account. It's emergency. I need you to do it right now. What you want to do is pause and double verify it. Don't be afraid to pick up your cell phone and call that individual directly and see if they pick up and say, what are you talking about? The same thing happened with my sister one time where she got a call that her son was in jail, and she was about to go and wire money to this particular address to bail him out of jail. And before my niece stepped in and said, hey, listen, did you bother trying to call Christopher to see if he did? She's like, no. And then of course my niece calls her brother, and he picks up the phone and he's at work.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, very important that you take a pause and double verify it and call from a known number to see if it's real or not.
Yeah, and then your niece then went on to tell your sister, look, Mom, don't we trust our son, my brother, more than like Uncle Rick? Uncle Rick, I would see that. So again,
Exactly.
there is an FBI analyst that's going to come in and talk about scams and the newest up-to-date things that are going on that we really need to know, because it is crazy how sophisticated they are getting. Again, if you would like to view the webinar, the team at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group will send you the link. Text the word webinar to 951-667-4969. Just text webinar, 951-667-4969. And again, it's this Tuesday at noon, January 28th at noon. And the easy number to remember, I think, is 800-700-1980. Just call the office. Say, hey, I'd love to get that link. I would really like to learn more about these scams that the FBI is going to talk about on Tuesday. 800-700-1980. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Rick about actual scams. He's had clients that have been scammed. We've all seen it. It's all crazy. Back with more right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. Been in the financial world now for over 30 years. The team at Safeguard is here to help you figure out where you are on that road to retirement. Can I retire? Do we have enough? Are we going to be okay? It's about income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those decisions that are now on our shoulders. Well, really, during our working years, we didn't have all of this pressure, I think, to make all these decisions. That's where Safeguard comes in to make sure that you are on the right track, you are doing the right things. Maybe a tweak here or there can make a big difference. And Rick always says, give him a call at 800-700-1980, and if you sit down with him for 45 minutes to an hour, he will give you, guaranteed, he will give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you are currently doing. 800-700-1980. Now, we have a big webinar coming up on Tuesday. FBI expert on scams is going to come in and do a webinar for the team at Safeguard. You're more than welcome to watch it. There's no cost to you whatsoever. You just need to get the link to be able to watch it. So you can call that number, 800-700-1980, and say, hey, I'd love to watch that webinar on scams this Tuesday at noon with the FBI person. But you can always text the word webinar if you'd prefer. Text webinar to 951-667-4969. That's 951-667-4969. 4969. And that webinar with the FBI is this Tuesday at noon. So, Rick, I think, you've been doing this for a long time, and you and Reed and Eddie and you guys started Safeguard back in 2008. So that's 17 years of business you've been doing. I would imagine you probably had a client or two scammed before, I would think, huh?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Some of these scams you would think, how could, somebody fall for these things, but everybody's situation is different. And I'll give you a quick example. A couple of clients that got caught up in, I don't know what the term is for it, but I'll call it a romance scam, where you get one spouse that passes away, and I guess the surviving spouse maybe is a little lonely or whatever, and of course they have some other person that they find on the internet that starts whispering sweet nothings in their ear and showing them a little bit of love. And next thing you know, hey, I want to come visit you, but I need the passport. It's going to cost some money, and and one excuse after the other. They start sending them money, and of course, they never see this person. They just never show up because one excuse after another, one tragedy after another that they have that costs money. And we've seen clients get scammed to the tune of literally hundreds of thousands of dollars because they think this person loves them and they have their best interest in mind. And,
What is amazing about them is they're so patient. It's not like they just
yes.
call you up once and ask for money. No, it's a long buildup to this kind of stuff.
Correct. A long buildup to that kind of stuff. And I even had one person come in that I met for the first time, and her husband passed away. She inherited, her life insurance paid out like 500 grand. Long story short, her family was telling her, listen, you're being scammed. She didn't want to listen to it. So finally, of the 500, she gave away like 400,000 of the 500 when she finally realized, she was being scammed. And unfortunately, it's too late because there's no way to recoup that money. Yeah, you can call, the police and the authorities, but these people are out of the country. They're in some other country,
Yeah.
So it's really sad. And then there's other types of scams. There was another client that I had where, and this relates back to what we were talking about earlier, where I actually got an email from the client, and the client writes me in an email, Rick, I kept this under wraps for a while, but I have cancer of the throat, and I tried all these different procedures, and now I want to try an experimental procedure, and I need you to do a direct deposit to my account of like, I want to say it was like $50,000 or some amount like that. And she goes on to say, and oh, by the way, I have a new bank account I'd like you to send it to. So of course, at first when I first started reading it, I was like feeling bad. But then as I'm reading more and more, and she's telling me, okay, she's got throat cancer or whatever it is, and she's in the hospital. So that means she can't talk supposedly. Then she says, I have a new bank account. Okay, great. So now flags start going on. And of course, like I said earlier, we don't just take orders through email. So I have to give her a call. I call her up at her work. Sure enough, she picks up the phone, and I tell her about this email. She's like, oh my God, Rick, no, I'm fine. So I sent it to her, and she was able to have, security look into it. But I mean, it's all kinds of stuff like that I can tell you that is very tricky. And we all have to be aware. And, and these scammers, what do they got to lose? They're sending out thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of these emails. If they can get one or two to bite, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, I think 60 Minutes did a special on it a year or two ago where they did their hour-long show, and it went to some foreign country, some little place. And they're like, they go into this, and there's 100 people. It's like the call center. But it's a call center for scams. Man, they're getting so good at this. 800-700-1980 if you'd like to chat with Rick and the team about your retirement. Hopefully you haven't been scammed. You don't think you're being scammed, but Rick can certainly give you advice in that area. But really, it's about your retirement. Can I retire? Do we have enough? Are we going to be okay? 800-700-1980. You can call that same number if you'd like to watch the webinar this Tuesday at noon. 800-700-1980. You can also text the word webinar to 951-667-4969. That's 951-667-4969. And then you think of Medicare, Part D, drug plans, right? They're prescriptions. You're buying online, and sometimes those are fake, and you end up thinking you're going to get this. You send the money, and oops, that was a scam. Social Security, and basically Social Security and I think your bank accounts are all the same. Never give those out to anybody that you don't know exactly who you're talking to. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, 100%.
This is really kind of a sad time. I mean, you think about the horrible fires that we're seeing not far from Corona, right? Where you are, Rick. I mean,
Yep.
I would not be shocked at all to find somebody finding the people, out of the thousands, finding somebody's number and calling them and saying, hey, we can rebuild your house for a lot less than most people. Send us 20 grand and we'll get started on it. I mean, I would not be shocked. It's kind of what the world we live in right now.
Yeah, you know what? And we always have to be hyper aware, not only with that, but they'll like call you up saying, hey, we're looking for donations,
Oh, yeah.
to help those people. And next thing you know, oh yeah, absolutely. And you're donating money and it's a scammer. I mean, even when those fires start, actually, not only those fires, but anytime there's fires around here and neighborhoods have to be evacuated, there's people actually going to loot those homes. It's sad that they try to get you coming and going, and it's sad that we have to be so hyper aware. So again, folks, you have to have your head on a swivel, so to speak, in order to protect yourself.
So again, you can always talk with Rick about your retirement, right? You got questions. Do we have enough? Are we doing it the right way? Are we pulling from the right sources at the right time? Do we need to change the order up? Do we need to tweak our investments a little bit? What about our taxes? How can we, be in a better position with taxes or health care, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare decisions? All of that, Rick and the team at Safeguard can help guide you with. 800-700-1980. But again, this scam stuff is really serious. So that's why the team at Safeguard is bringing in an FBI person to discuss this in the webinar on Tuesday at noon. They'll send you the link. You can call the office, 800-700-1980, that we give you every week on the show, 800-700-1980. But you can also text the word webinar if you'd prefer. Just text webinar to 951-667-4969. They'll send you the link, 951-667-4969. Just text the word webinar. And again, it's this Tuesday at noon. Rick, this is a great thing because scams are a big, big deal. So appreciate you doing this for everybody, and it doesn't matter if you're a client or not. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So again, take advantage of this opportunity. If you want to talk with Rick, it's 800-700-1980. Thanks for your time, Rick. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Good luck with the webinar.
Thanks, Mark.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.